Hey everybody, it's fall. And what does fall bring? It brings football. And I'm your host, Bill Culp, another edition of RCTV, a fall preview. We're here with Coach Brubaker. How you doing there, Coach?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
It's been a while.
It has been a little bit. It's been over a year. So let's get to it. This year, what's the makeup of your team? What are some of those returning starters that we should be looking forward to seeing and some upcomers that we should be looking forward to seeing?
Well, we have a lot of guys returning on offense. We have our top 4 receivers returning, our quarterback returning, and every lineman actually has starting experience. Now, that's all, that doesn't mean a whole lot. It does mean we have experience, but you still have to go out and play. On defense, 3 of our 4 defensive linemen are returning. James Albert returns at linebacker, and in the secondary, Andrew Yoon's the only one that has experience. So as you've seen already, we have had a little growing pains in the secondary and at linebacker, to begin the season. So that's something that we have to get straightened out quickly.
And, talking to even the season, for us, we're teachers. For me, I just started basically last week there, Coach. But you guys have been at this for a little while. Talk about, how long have you guys been working in the summer?
Oh, I was going to say since November, but in the summer we go 3 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. We also went to Millersville team camp, as well as a one-day 7-on-7 and lineman camp at Penn State. We also had some other we had an 11-on-11 camp here, and then an interaction with Upper Marion. So, we've been at it all summer. We were at it all winter, really. We're doing 7-on-7 stuff throughout the winter, and it's tough. Like, we want our players to play multiple sports, but when they're not in something else, we ask them to attend that. But we certainly like our kids to play, other things as well. So, in the summertime is when late spring and early summer is when we really get going.
All right, and I'll get back to something because I have an interesting question for you later. But you brought it up, some growing pains and this and that against CB South this past weekend. But during practice, are you working on those things? Or are you more concentrating on who your next opponent is, still getting the plays down? What are you trying to concentrate on during practices?
Well, when you have sophomores especially, and sometimes guys that haven't played before, really until the whistle blows on a Friday night, you really don't know what you have. And some people's personalities are to rise to the occasion. Other people's personalities like to have a deer in headlights. Yeah. And unfortunately, we had a lot of the deer in headlights stuff, mostly mentally. Not that they don't have the ability to do it, but when you're calling a man coverage in the secondary and guys are looking in the backfield, or when you have a zone coverage and you're leaving your zone or not ever getting to your zone, those are things that can happen early in the season. And you like to get a W and still address those things. But, yeah, you have to address them right away. We lost last week to CB South basically because, everybody would think, well, the quarterback threw for 200-some yards and 5 touchdowns. But really what killed us was people not dropping in their zones, and then the quarterback scrambling on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10. And getting first downs and keeping the drive alive. And really, those were the biggest issues that we had on Friday night. So, offensively, we should have scored more points. We stalled a drive inside the 10. We threw an interception. We didn't execute on some other drives. We feel like we should have scored 40 points. We didn't pull the ball on zone read when we should have. So there's a lot of things that we worked on in practice this week.
All right, and you kind of mentioned this perfect leeway of the question I wanted to ask you. I was thinking about this morning. You said, the kids kind of like the deer in headlights first time they're doing this. This is one sport you don't have the AAU. You don't have the club sports.
Guys trying.
They're trying, but you don't have it like the other sports. So talk about like you said, there's guys who've never put that, maybe they haven't put it on since last season or this and that. They're not playing that in a sense all year long. Do you think that hurts, the kids coming in, or what are your feelings?
No, we want kids to play other sports, and quite honestly, we were physical. So, we missed a couple tackles, obviously, but ultimately we were physical. So we're not as worried about that. It's more the mental part of the game and the little intricacies that make you from average to good and from good to better and from better to great. Those are the little things that happen. You know, there are people trying to do the AAU model, like the 7-on-7 circuit, and they're trying to put together super teams, and college coaches really, for the most part, ignore all of that. That's where we're fortunate in football, is that college coaches still come to the high school coaches to talk about which guys can play, and then they rely on the film to confirm that. You know, what somebody does in the summer in the underwear Olympics 7-on-7 circuit really doesn't matter. You know, you have guys making 8 moves and the quarterback throwing like from 1 yard from the line of scrimmage. Has nothing to do with anything. And quite honestly, there's times where some guys do it right, and I'm not saying everybody, but there are times where our guys have played in certain 7-on-7 teams or whatever, and it takes half the summer to get them back to where they're supposed to be, especially quarterbacks. I feel like quarterbacks get the most bad habits in 7-on-7. But, you know, I think there are a lot of guys out there that are trying to do it the right way, and you know, hopefully our kids, if they choose to do something like that, they choose those guys.
All right.
No, but I will say we're doing it too.
Yeah.
Like, we're just taking our own team and doing 7-on-7 because we want them to. We're going to teach them the right way, the right time. And I don't care about winning in the off season. I care about doing it right. So if a kid doesn't score a touchdown, you know, we correct him on, hey, this is what you could do better the next time, as opposed to catching a touchdown after 8 seconds and the guy doing a dance and people fighting and arguing. It's a bunch of nonsense.
All right. Well, yeah, you're preparing for.
Just watch YouTube.
Yeah, you're preparing for the league here. How do you think you fare up? Talk about the league. I'm sure you have some knowledge about what you're going to be going up against this coming season.
Well, believe it or not, I really don't at this point. I mean, I know some of the kids that are returning at certain schools, and you know, we saw the scores from last Friday night, but you never really know. Like, you know, you ultimately don't really know until week 3, week 4, week 5 what teams really have, and I know probably a lot of teams saw our score and, you know, are like, oh, you know, Springford's down. So that's for fans to do. I don't think we get into that too much as coaches. I mean, again, we're looking at scores, and, you know, you can draw some conclusions, but not as many as you think you can.
What's just last question before I get you going here? What's one word you think you'd like your team to define themselves this year? 1 or 2 words.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me a couple extra ones. I really think that we need to develop a little bit more leadership. I think our guys are still trying to figure out what that means for them versus and how they fit into a bigger culture. You know, maybe sometimes as coaches we do a little too much for them, but we have to. And last night in practice we had some, I don't know if we call it breakthroughs, but we certainly had some situations where guys were like questioning, you know, other people, which they should. You know, they should be saying, if I'm playing hard every play and you're not, Bill, I'm gonna ask you, like, Bill, what, you know, why aren't you going hard? But I have to go hard to be able to ask you that question. So leadership is one, and I think we're going to get there. I think we do have leadership qualities. The other one is just, you know, we talked about all these things we've talked about, but the other thing I told them when we first got here 10 years ago, this staff, we talked about expecting to win, and the guys from 2010 can tell you that. Like, we came here and we said every time, expect to win, expect to win, expect to win, expect to win. And I think our kids got to a point maybe where they thought like they're entitled to win, and that's not the case. There's a difference between expecting to win and being entitled to win. So expecting to win means you do everything that you can, and when you walk out on the field, you have a quiet confidence about yourself, as opposed to just showing up and thinking you're going to win. So, all right.
I appreciate your time. Thanks, Eric, Coach. Hey, he mentioned leadership. I'm going to let this leader get back to his team right now. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to the field hockey field. When we come back on Game Time.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist!
Use STEM to build, create,
She did it!
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Hey everybody, hopefully that was a good quick snack, and thanks for coming back to RCTV's Game Time. I'm your host, Bill Culp, and I smell grass here. I'm over here at the field hockey with Coach Anderson. How you doing, Coach?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. All right, so tell us about the makeup of your team, how many seniors, juniors, about, and things like that playing varsity for you.
We have a lot of seniors. Our team, though, is pretty young with respect to varsity experience. We lost a lot of starters from last year, so we're counting on a lot of underclassmen as well as upperclassmen to step in and fill those voids for us.
Yeah, you got a nice little mixture there. I saw the first game, and it looks like you do have some young ones with some talent and this and that. Now, how do you what do you tell the seniors to kind of do to kind of help them along? Those freshmen and this and that.
It's just every game and every day is a new opportunity for us in order to go out and perform. One of the biggest things is we tell them is to just play every day and have no regrets. So we always say go on the field, give it all you have, and we really try to stress that from our upperclassmen down to our underclassmen and really give maximum effort at all times.
Nice. And I was talking to Coach Brubaker. I said football, you don't have the AAUs, you don't have the, basically the squad teams and things like that where they're playing elsewhere, the clubs. Where these girls you do. What's the difference, I guess, in a sense, especially for the younger ones, where usually in their club they're competing against girls their own age, where now they're competing against girls that are 3 or 4 years older than them?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just the speed of the game is fast, and then just playing against girls who are bigger than you is a big thing. So really, I mean, size doesn't matter. It's just we say go out and just run as fast as you can, and just like we said, give maximum effort. That's the biggest thing we tell them.
I don't blame you. All right, so, I mean, it's got to be more physical in the high school kind of thing because you probably have a little bit more of a rivalry and things like that going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime we play the Perk Valley, O&J is a big one, Methacton, anyone really in the pack. I mean, it's always a playoff game atmosphere for us, and that's what we try to teach it as. So if we are able to make playoffs, then we'll be ready for that kind of atmosphere and pressure.
All right, and talk about that. The pack it's really good, and like you said, it's very competitive. What are you looking at as this year? It's going to kind of get you over the top. Are you looking at, in a sense, maybe, the beginning of the year is kind of getting a feel of your team and this and that. When do you kind of see them or want them to hit their stride?
Hopefully it's every game for us. But we go through a tough stretch in the beginning of our season. We're playing a lot of games within the next 3 weeks. So we're really going to find out where we are and what we need to do to be better. And hopefully we can continue to learn from the lessons from the first 3 weeks of the season and take it through the playoffs if we're able to make it.
You mentioned that, and I was going to ask you that. You pretty much have a grueling schedule. You're playing a lot of games at a short amount of time, so hopefully you get no rain or bad weather, inclement weather, because talk about, like, how do you prepare for that, where there's, like, some weeks where you're having 3 games in a week along with practices. Do you prepare yourself for that? Like, do you kind of say, hey, let's take practice off, or, physically and mentally and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. I know it's going to be big for us to, just continue to stress the girls to stay hydrated, eat right, get enough sleep. And then with regards to practice, if it is tough the first 3 weeks, so we know we have to dial it back a little bit. These first 3 weeks, we are able to go hard every practice, but because we haven't played a lot. But now going forward, we're going to have to kind of monitor and just see how the girls are feeling physically and make adjustments if needed.
All right, and speaking of the girls, younger girls, what do you think? What 3 skills do you think you need to play field hockey, especially even high school? It's hard enough just to make a high school team in any sport, but what do you think they need? And then I'll let you get back to your job there.
For us, I mean, the biggest 3 things would be, the fundamentals. You need to be able to pass the ball efficiently. You need to be able to dribble, and you need to have the field vision. I mean, that's one of the things that's we're working on, is figuring out where's the movement, where do you need to go in every single play. I think those 3 are some of the 3 biggest things that we'll need going forward.
Well, I know where you need to go. You need to go back out there and talk, and we're going to get one of your players here. We're going to see what those 3 things she says. So thanks for joining us, our Coach Anderson. And when we come back, we're going to take a short break. We're going to talk to one of her players. When we come back on Game Time.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
But I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Hey everybody, thanks for that short break and welcome back to Game Time. We're with one of the superstars here at Springford, Caitlin Chris. All right, how you doing there, Caitlin?
I'm okay, thanks.
All right, that's good. I called you a superstar. That's a good thing.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're going to Penn State, right? You committed a while ago. I mean, how excited are you about that?
I'm really excited. I want to take my game to the next level and everything and get off the grass. So
I don't blame you for getting off the grass. I know how hard it is playing field hockey. Is it sort of a relief to know, kind of like before the season, where you're going? Do you feel like it's helped you relax a little bit more?
Yeah, but at the same time, like I feel like I need to be always on top of things and always on my game and getting better still so that I can actually go into the game in college. So it's a relief in like the fact that I don't have to apply anywhere else, but I still have to work hard.
All right, so talk about that then. You that pressure. I mean, do you sort of feel a little bit more pressure being a senior? I mean, it probably was like a blip, as they said in Spider-Man, that you were just a freshman. You were some of the these girls out here. Do you feel that pressure to be that much better as a senior? Like you said, just being on your game each and every game.
Yeah, but I focus more on like my leadership now. Like it's a kind of like a different focus. Like freshman year, I focused on my play, my game, but now it's like I kind of have my game. Now I need to lead and keep my team together and put them behind me and everything.
So what are some things you do to show some leadership, or things that you do with the girls?
We do some team bonding, and then like a lot of us will just go out to eat after a game or something like that. Like just little things. Like even on our runs, we just cheer each other on, and always if somebody's behind in the run, we go back out and get them. Like kind of always pick each other up.
Gotcha. I asked Coach Anderson two more questions. One, three skills you think for those younger girls that are playing field hockey coming up, want to play for Springford. What do you think the skills you need to be successful in the sport?
Vision, know how to keep possession of the ball, pass the ball. Yeah, there's no point to dribble the ball.
All right. I ask this usually. It's a little more fun for the basketball and some other sports. So I'll ask you. Ultimate play, if you could just end your career, let's say you're in the state championship, tied score, what would be the ultimate play for Caitlin Chris? What would you do?
If I could hit a reverse chip into the top corner of the goal, that'd be my play, but it might not happen. It's okay.
That's all right. Well, I appreciate you taking that time, and good luck with that chip. All right, we'll look forward to seeing her and those chips throughout this whole season. It's a young season. You got to come out here and support those girls. And when we come back on Game Time, we got one more fall sport. So stick around. Your host, Bill Culp.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Hey everybody, hope you had a good break there. It was great to talk to Coach Anderson, but I'm about love. And when I think love, I think tennis. And joining us here, tennis coach Todd Regan. How are you?
How are we doing, Mr. Culp?
I am fantastic. Now, you know me, this is going to be dead serious.
I know.
All right, good. All right, so let's get to it. What's the makeup of your team this year? Seniors all the way down to freshmen, things like that.
All right, well, we have 33 girls, a really big team. We've been fortunate to play a couple teams that are as big as us. This week or last week, we played 3 teams that were all smaller than us, so not all our kids got to play. With tennis, that's how it kind of breaks down. As many kids as the other team has is how many kids that you can play. So we're looking forward to playing some big teams. We have Pope John Paul tomorrow. We're getting ready for an away match here today. They have a big squad, and Great Valley has a big squad on Friday. So we got 2 away matches coming up that we're looking forward to. We do have 10 seniors that are good, giving us good leadership up top, and we have probably about the same amount of juniors, and then we got a little smaller group with our sophomores and maybe a group of 5 freshmen this year. So it's an interesting mix, but we have a lot of talented kids up and down and kids that are willing to work hard, so it's great to have them out.
All right, beautiful. Now, I want to piggyback off of that, though. Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the greatest question, but it's an obvious answer. But what's the benefits of having 33?
Well, we have a big school, so we always want to try and give the opportunity to as many kids that want to participate as possible, as long as they're going to enjoy the experience. So we're willing to keep, a big team that allows us to play most days. If we kept more than that, they would only play in half the matches, and then kids lose interest. So we always want to try and find that balance of that good size number, and then a little bit more, because we're a big school. We always want to try and give that opportunity, because we know how hard it is. We want the kids to participate. We want them to be involved in school and gain the benefits of all that extracurricular activities offer for them.
All right, and you mentioned that too. I mean, it probably makes it more competitive for the girls during the week before the matches. Am I right? And again, talk about that, because they have to play each other. Do you think that ups some of those girls that maybe have played, previous years and this and that?
Yeah, I mean, tennis is one of those interesting things where your age doesn't matter. You just go out there and you play, and if you win, you're here, and if you lose, you're down there, and it's really kind of straightforward from that point. The grade is irregardless. The size, whereas other sports, your size could be a big factor in your ability to do well, your strength, but for tennis, it's all about your strategy, your shot making, your abilities there, and really it's no benefit to be a senior than a freshman. So it's always an interesting mix of where you get kids in the varsity lineup or the JV lineup, and you'll see all different ages all over the place. So it's definitely interesting.
What kind of athlete do you think needs to play tennis? I see some athletes that you have that play the multi-sports, and kind of piggybacking off that second question, what other sport do you think translates real well? What kind of sport do you think can translate to tennis? I mean,
through the years, we've had a lot of success with softball players, lacrosse players, basketball players. That seems to be the most matchup, the sports that match up the best. The basketball, the footwork is very similar. For lacrosse, for lacrosse and softball, just the hand-eye of using the racket to the lacrosse stick, use the bat to the ball, that sort of thing. Those skills usually transition pretty well. So when we get those athletes that play multiple sports, it's great. It's great to have them out here. They always obviously motivate everybody to try a little harder. Some girls play tennis all year round, so they see some athletes that come out that maybe start off a little rusty and then pick it up, and then they just take off. They use their athleticism to try and gain the advantage, if you will. Nice. All right.
Talk about, what are the rules of a match, number one, and have there been any rule changes since last year?
Well, let's see. We play best of 7, so there's 3 singles and 4 doubles. So our best player would play the best player from the other team, and then our second best player plays their second best player straight down, and then we have 4 doubles as well. So there's 7 matches on any given day. So whoever wins 4 or more of those matches would be the winners. And so far we've done a pretty good job. We've been winning a lot of matches, and we're hoping to keep that streak going.
Is there any rule you'd love to change? You would go to the committee and say, this would be nice?
In our league, in District 1, 2, there's you can only coach between the first and second set, between the second and third set. And sometimes you wish you just had a little microphone, a little in their ear, and just tell them, don't stand there, move around a little bit, keep the feet moving. There's a little bit of things that you just wish you could get in their ear, and you say it at practice enough, and you hope that they will trigger it themselves, or their partner will remind them. I wish there was a way that we could do that without slowing down the match a lot.
All right, and I saw you running, making the girls run a little bit here, obviously conditioning. Do you mostly are you practicing? How do you keep these girls in shape? Because you got to be in shape to play tennis.
Yeah, well, with tennis, there's so many because we hold 3 championships. So there's a singles championship, a doubles championship, and a team championship. So the championships start. It really pushes the regular season. It compacts the regular season by about a week or 2. So we'll finish up some team matches maybe a week and a half before soccer and field hockey does. So we play our 18 matches in a shorter time. So we have less practices to be there. So you really got to try and make the most out of each and every one. So you want to try and get some fitness down, but you got to work on your serves, you got to work on your shot making, everything like that. So like this week we had 3 matches. We're just trying to squeeze everything in and hope for the best out of the short amount of practice time we get.
All right, last question and I'll let you go. Has there ever been a bench clearing brawl in the tennis, or what would you do in that situation? How would you handle that?
No.
Never.
Never.
It's because it's a gentleman's game.
Right.
A ladies' game.
Right. We make friends everywhere we go.
That's the best. Thanks for joining us,
Coach
absolutely.
Reagan. Thank you, Mr. Scope.
That's a great point, making friends. You want to make some friends? Come out and support these girls and everybody. That'll do it for the wrap-up of this edition of Game Time. I'm your host, Bill Culp. Have a great day.